Welcome back, YouTubers, to another NXT review with me, Mr. Parkin01. Remember, the link to the show will be linked in the description box below. So let's go, 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 go! So the show this week got off to a hot start, and why is that? Because we had an interview segment with none other than the promo-cutting genius of Bo Dallas. We all know Bo Dallas cannot cut a promo to save his life, even though I must admit in this interview segment, it sounded like the cue cards were helping him a lot more, and it sounded like he had some speech lessons as well, because we could actually understand what he was saying this time, which is good. He is the NXT champion, people! He talks about Leo Kruger's actions last week and how that's going to lead to things going forward. We have Antonio Cesaro sort of randomly coming into shot, saying he has earned everything the hard way, and Bo Dallas is a punk! That's right. First he was a nerd, then he was a smiley arsehole, now he's a punk, apparently. I don't know what CM Punk will be saying about that, but there we go. This all backstage segment, it was there to set up an NXT Championship main event, and I'm like, you know, you set up Chris Jericho and Ryback at the pay-per-view in the main event. Why not book the NXT Championship match between Antonio Cesaro and Bo Dallas in the main event using a backstage segment? That's very good booking there, NXT. Woohoo, there we go. So we finally got to the semi-final stage of the NXT Women's Championship, and things are starting to get a little bit better now. I felt the quarter-final matches were a bit like some of them didn't really feel that important, but you know, they haven't really promoted this brilliantly like they did, say, the tag team or the NXT Championship tournament, but still, Alicia Fox versus Paige was a pretty decent match, I felt. The crowd went pretty wild for Paige. It was actually a decent reaction for Alicia Fox as well. It showed there was probably a fresh crowd there from fresh tapings. I have a question, though. Why did Alicia Fox go outside and do the timeout thing when she just floored Paige? That was a bit silly. That was one thing I just kind of noticed in this, but it was a pretty decent match between the two, and the finish kind of seemed to come out of nowhere, but the main thing is Paige goes through to the final, and I seriously think that with these tournaments designed to put baby faces over, I seriously think that Paige is definitely going to go and win this now. I really do. So finally, the Ascension is not just a single person thing anymore. We have Conor O'Brien coming out with Rick Victor. I wondered when they were going to have these guys come out together. It seemed like it took a longer time than it really should have done, but there we go. At least we have some kind of tag team now in the Ascension. It's another tag team you can add to the tag team division in NXT right now, which, let's face it, without the Wyatt family, when they get put on the main roster, will be pretty bare. Anyway, in this match, you have Conor O'Brien versus a jobber. I guess that's all I can tell him. Apparently, he was from the UK, but he was a jobber to me. And I just have a question. Conor O'Brien defeats this guy, and they defeated a couple of jobbers now, coming back to the Ascension. I just wonder, when are the Ascension going to rise? I'm really wondering this. When are the Ascension going to actually rise and do something in NXT? We had a backstage segment, actually, with Adrian Neville and Corey Graves, and Adrian Neville kind of made a plea to William Regal to help them out and take out the Wyatt family after they injured Cassius Ohno last week in the main event, and apparently he cannot wrestle. So I imagine this may be setting up some kind of six-man tag, or will William Regal come back to wrestle for one more match against the Wyatt family? Possibly for next week, possibly going for the next couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see where they go with this now, really, now that Cassius Ohno is apparently out of the frame. Michel Parkin! J'adore le Sylvester Lefort caractère in the NXT arena! Man, you gotta love Sylvester Lefort. I don't know what it is about that tan-chested guy, but he's damn entertaining. I do like him. It's just a shame I don't really care too much about the people that he's managing. And just speaking about the people who he's managing, Scott Dawson and Garrett Dillon. Garrett Dillon wasn't there this week. It was about Scott Dawson. First time I think we've seen him in singles action. And I just wonder where the Barbecue Boys and Sylvester Lefort got all this TV time from. It's like, just all of a sudden they come out of nowhere. They defeated a couple of jobber teams, then lost the #1 contendership, and now Scott Dawson is losing to Xavier Woods. I just wonder if the Barbecue Boys from now on just haven't really worked, and now if they're just becoming jobber bitches. Because that's kind of how it seemed like to me here. I mean, Xavier Woods, I love Xavier Woods, I love the gimmick, it's very fun, which is something that we lack in WWE right now. The crowd were reacting to it well tonight. The crowd was actually on fire tonight throughout the whole show, I felt, especially in the main event, which I'll get to later. And Xavier Woods, wins with Gail Kim's finisher. And Xavier Woods getting the win, I do wonder if they're actually going to do anything with Xavier Woods. It kind of just feels to me like they'll just be giving him jobber matches and then not be on TV. That's what they've kind of done with Xavier Woods before. But it's nice to see Xavier Woods get a little bit of a run in NXT, as I don't really feel he's had that proper run yet, in my opinion. In a segment that had me rolling on the floor in laughter, we had Mason Ryan, who didn't even get an entrance, by the way, defeat Enzo Amore in about 3 seconds after punching him once. That's fucking hilarious. And then you have Enzo Amore sending Colin Cassidy in, and Mason Ryan beats him in about 30 seconds. I was just rolling on the floor with laughter in this. And Enzo Amore was just so funny here, and I know he's jobbing, but goddamn, this segment was so funny. It's amazing how sometimes these jobber matches and Mason Ryan just defeating these jobbers in like 3 seconds can make me laugh so much. It's just funny. It's just entertaining in my opinion. Very similar to when Biggie Langston does the 1 more time 5 count thing and just like slams his opponent 1 more time. It's just funny. I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys don't find it funny, but I find it funny and entertaining. Mason Ryan beat Enzo Amore with 1 punch. But in all seriousness, Mason Ryan is one of those like roided up massive motherfuckers that you know Vince McMahon at some point down the line is going to be desperate to push. And even though it didn't work the first time with Mason Ryan as a heel in Nexus, even though it didn't work the second time when he got no reaction in the UK, even though he's from Wales as a babyface, I wonder if WWE are going to use the old term, 3rd time's a charm, and maybe try and push this guy down. Because you know Vince is going to want to. He's exactly the kind of guy that you know Vince wants to push into the main event. And the size and the look is exactly what Vince McMahon looks at. I just wonder if Mason Ryan really has what it takes in order to be part of the main roster and be some kind of main event star in the future. And I must admit, I am kind of questioning it now. I don't really know what it is about Mason Ryan. I believe it might be his lack of personality. Maybe he's very one-dimensional. But we'll see what Vince McMahon and WWE actually do with this guy going forward. Maybe they'll fuck it up the 3rd time, and then they'll end up releasing him. Well, it doesn't look like there are many Believers in Full Sail University, because as soon as Bo Dallas come out, as soon as Bo Dallas went on the offense, as soon as Bo Dallas did anything positive with his geeky, smiley, punk face, the crowd were booing the fuck out of him. Bo Dallas versus Antonio Cesaro was an interesting match, not because I felt the match was alright, but the crowd. It's just interesting how the crowd are reacting to Bo Dallas. It really does seem like Bo Dallas is the next John Cena. I mean, they literally did Cena chants to him throughout the night. You know, let's go Bo, no more Bo. That's like a John Cena style, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. And he wins in a typical John Cena way, as the 2 heels end up colliding and he hits his weak-ass finisher to win the match. So it looks like in NXT right now, we have our next John Cena. And it's none other than Bo Dallas, people. When you don't get a very good reaction, when you have a weak-ass finisher, then you're going to be a top guy in the WWE. I mean, this is exactly what it takes to be a top guy in the WWE, based on what WWE have given us previously. But anyway, in all seriousness, this match was actually pretty decent. I think Antonio Cesaro once again showed us in this match that he can pretty much carry anyone to a good match. I'm not saying Bo Dallas isn't a good wrestler as well. I'm just saying when Antonio Cesaro is involved in a match, generally it is pretty good. And I do hope that, even though I'm a bit questionable with his new partnership with Zeb Coulter, with him being from Europe and Zeb Coulter being all about the USA, we the people, I do hope that this new partnership with Zeb Coulter actually gets him somewhere. It most likely won't get Antonio Cesaro somewhere, but I sure as hell hope it does, because I think it would be a bit of a waste of talent if WWE just don't do all that much with Antonio Cesaro. He clearly is a great wrestler, but he just needs that gimmick. He just needs to get over, and then WWE can possibly start pushing him. He was a failed US champ, as Bo Dallas so rightly said in the opening interview segment of the show. So yeah, so that's Antonio Cesaro for there. We had the post-match attack. Leo Kruger comes out and attacks Bo Dallas after the match, to cheers, by the way. Leo Kruger, the heel, getting cheered, attacking the babyface, who is getting booed. John Cena, I'm just saying. And Antonio Cesaro then takes out Leo Kruger and attacks Bo Dallas, only for Leo Kruger to come back in, and then they work together, beating down on Bo Dallas, to cheers, by the way. And then out comes Sami Zayn. You know, he's feuding with Antonio Cesaro right now, so this does actually make sense. And we get the Ole chants. This is the first time, I think, we've seen clear and distinct Ole chants. I wonder how over Sami Zayn is going to be in a couple of months' time. And they clear the ring with Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas and Sami Zayn, the babyface, typically end up standing tall at the end of NXT. And I think that we have a potential tag match here. You know, Bo Dallas and Sami Zayn versus Antonio Cesaro and Leo Kruger, sort of combining 2 feuds and allowing them to move forward in a kind of logistical manner. So I think this main event was a pretty decent match. I've said my piece on Antonio Cesaro. I've said my piece on Bo Dallas, and I feel that going forward, these two feuds here could be at least semi-interesting, and it's setting up what I think could be a very interesting tag match down the line. Maybe next week, maybe in 2 weeks' time, who knows? You know, I do have one concern with NXT, and it's nothing to do with the actual show themselves. It's more to do with the fact that it's a developmental show. Eventually, good talent on NXT is going to be going to either Raw or SmackDown, and I think we're in the process of seeing a lot of talent, a lot of new talent moving from NXT going towards the roster in either SmackDown or Raw. And what I really want to see is, where are WWE going to bring their new NXT star talent from? Are they going to sign people like the Briscoes? Are we going to see people like Mike Bennett, Sami Callihan, Sami Zayn, etc.? Where are these new stars going to come from? Because when I see guys like, you know, Garrett Dillon and Scott Dawson and people like that, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, ugh. When I see Bo Dallas, I kind of think, ugh. You know, these aren't really guys I can all that much care about in NXT. So I do hope that sooner or later down the line we see them introducing some new characters like that to kind of replace some of the star power they've got. They can bring in guys like Antonio Cesaro, maybe the Usos every now and then, maybe a Zack Ryder, people like that to kind of fill in the gaps, but that isn't going to work for long. Overall, I thought this NXT show was okay. It wasn't a great show. I felt the main event was pretty decent. I mean, the Divas match was pretty decent. There was some stuff in there that I did enjoy. Overall, an okay show. I wouldn't say it was a great show. Not one of the best shows of the year, but not one of the worst shows of the year. It was just an okay show. Please leave me your opinions on the show and the stuff I've talked about in this review down in the comment section below, of course. And make sure you tune in next Saturday for another NXT review with me, Mr. Parkin01, the V-neck wearing, even though I'm not right now, AJ Lee lusting, Cody Rhodes revering Mr. Parkin. Thank you very much for watching this review, guys. Have a good weekend. Goodbye.